Hello, my name is Lauren, and I'm going to give you a brief introduction to Asian American history, a broader context, and where No-No Boy fits in. Asians have lived in the Americas since 1565, when the galleon trade navigated a route from the Philippines to Mexico. It has been almost 5 centuries since then, but Asian Americans still remain casted as perpetual foreigners. So, what happened in between? Over time, as Asians increasingly settled in the United States, anti-Asian sentiments grew. As immigrants, they often took the low-paying, dangerous jobs that industries offered. Other laborers blamed them for stealing these jobs, and the tensions turned into violence. In 1854, after a Chinese immigrant was shot and killed, the California Supreme Court ruled that people of Asian descent could not testify against a white person in court, setting a precedent that allowed white people to go unpunished for anti-Asian crimes. Then, Congress passed the Page Act in 1875, followed by the Chinese Exclusion Act in 1882. These were the first two significant laws to restrict immigration into the United States. In the 1922 case, Uzawa v. United States, the United States Supreme Court upheld the government's right to deny U.S. citizenship to Japanese immigrants. This was later followed by the Immigration Act of 1924, which implemented a quota system and barred immigration from Japan until 1952. Then, the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 replaced the quota system with a preference for high-skilled immigrant workers. Among other factors, this led to the model minority myth that we see today, which assumes that Asians are naturally smart, hardworking, and successful. In this timeline, you can see how American shifting views on immigrants has reflected within the United States policy and laws. As a disclaimer, this and the Washington Post timeline that's pictured on the right are abbreviated. So, where does No-No Boy fit in? The events in this book occur after World War II, which was when Executive Order 9066 was announced and used to forcibly evacuate people of Japanese descent from their homes on the West Coast and detain them in incarceration camps surrounded by barbed wire fences and patrolled by armed guards. To assess the loyalty of all Nisei adults in the camps, a loyalty questionnaire was administered. Question 27 asked if individuals would serve in the United States Armed Forces on combat duty wherever ordered. Question 28 asked if individuals would swear allegiance to the United States and forswear any allegiance to the Emperor of Japan. No-No Boy is written from the perspective of Ichiro, a Japanese-American man who answered no to both of these questions. After spending 2 years in a camp and then 2 more years in prison after declining to join the U.S. Army, he returns home and struggles to find his place in a post-war society. The experiences of Ichiro and the characters around him reflect the wide range of emotions that Japanese Americans felt at this time. There was a lot of tension and resentment, and many Japanese Americans just wanted to stay quiet and under the radar. They just wanted to forget this time when they had been perceived as the Yellow Peril, a threat to Western society. The book depicts the difficulty that they had navigating these feelings. On the left is a picture of Fu Manchu, which is a fictional representation of the Yellow Peril. Although it may seem like a distant past, World War II ended less than 100 years ago. Yellow Peril, the perpetual foreigner, and other stereotypes of Asian people are still relevant today. Throughout history, anti-Asian sentiments have spiked in waves. After 9/11, they emerged in the xenophobic attacks on Americans of South Asian, Arab, Muslim, and Middle Eastern descent, who were accused of being quote-unquote un-American, echoing accusations leveled at Japanese Americans during World War II. Even now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Asians have been scapegoated for bringing this virus to the United States. Although many are surprised by today's anti-Asian hate incidents, this is nothing new. That's one reason behind the movement towards including ethnic studies in school curriculums. Books like No No Boy are important because they highlight experiences and ideas that aren't regularly talked about. Here are a couple of discussion questions. So number 1, reflect on what you've learned about World War II and Japanese American internment in previous classes. Does John Okada's novel align with your perception of that time? Why or why not? The second question is, think back to a time in your life when you've had a homecoming. What were the circumstances and mood? Can you relate to Ichiro's experiences? Thank you.